It's recap time. I bring you the one more recap. Today I'll explain a war action movie called Lone Survivor, released in 2013. The film begins with a montage of heavy training that depicts a series of tough drills. It represents the hardships that one has to go through to become a soldier. The scene then instantly shifts to a helicopter sequence, where a couple of Marines help to aid an injured man. The injured man is then transported to a medical facility. A couple of medics try their level best to get him back, while the line of his life falls almost flat. This is when the film moves to the past events. A soldier named Mikey gets up from his sleep and accompanies Danny, his mate, on a long run from base. When the run concludes, Mikey wins and Danny loses. Marcus, the same guy from the helicopter sequence, takes a jab at Danny. After this introductory set of events, the guys get to know about their vital mission. Meanwhile, another member, Patton, gets ignored as he is inexperienced for the call. The brief of the mission is given, and the guys are expected to eliminate a terror outfit leader before he wreaks any more havoc. A small scene where the right-hand man of the outfit tortures innocents is also shown. The guys know what they are up against and are ready to take the bad people down. The mission takes place at night, and the team gathers themselves at the location. Soon, after traveling a little far, the connection between the base and them becomes weak. However, the team makes sure that they are close to the target and finally reach the point of action. Marcus immediately spots the leader of the outfit. He can track him down, as they decide to wait for the best opportunity to eliminate him. This is when they also try to get to a better location for an improved signal. When the guys take a rest, a civilian comes by along with his sheep. This creates chaos among the team as their location is compromised. Mikey decides to use a satellite phone and contact the base. The team decides what to do next. Mikey gives them a couple of options, the first one to eliminate them, and the latter being to set them free. Marcus insists that they should be let go, as it is the right thing to do. Therefore, the team decides to release them while they will run back to the base. As soon as they release the locals, one of them flees to inform the bad guys about them. This leaves them with no other option but to compromise the mission and get back to the base as soon as possible. The team travels far and reaches a peak, but still fails to get any signals. Back at the base, they face a similar problem, as they realize that they have lost connection with the team. This leads to further chaos as Commander Christensen tries to get an update. Meanwhile, the team gets surrounded by the bad guys, and their location is exposed. At first, both of them hold back the shots, waiting for the perfect opportunity. The guys get in their position and wait for the right time. This is when one of them takes the shot and eliminates a bad guy. This results in a fight back from them, as they have no other option but to take them out. Since the team has a better hiding environment, they gain an advantage in the shootout. Meanwhile, they also try to establish their connection back with the base. The team members start to get injured with the oncoming firepower. One by one, they start to get overpowered as the bad guys inch closer to them. Soon enough, when the bad guys bring an automated fire, Marcus and Mikey decide to change their strategy. Since the bad guys are wreaking havoc from the left side, the team decides to counter from the right. Even though they can sustain the damage for long, the firepower starts to get them. Mikey gets shot, while the rest of the members also endure injuries. This time, the team pushes back to a safe location and retreats. They realize that they have no other option but to jump from the cliff, as they are heavily outnumbered by the bad guys. Soon, they take the leap of faith and land on rocks and uneven plains. After making the jump, the guys are present at different positions and are also injured due to the fall. They try to get up and take control of the situation. One by one, all of them make themselves ready for more fight back. When the bad guys follow up with them, they fire at the team again. This time, the team is low on ammunition and has to make another jump. He also helps Danny, along with him, to get down. However, Danny falls in the process and gets separated from the team. While Marcus lands somewhere near Mikey, Danny remains above, near to the bad guys. Soon enough, Danny is surrounded by them and gets injured even further. This leads to a fight back from the team as they try to protect Danny. The bad guys get to Danny and start going over his stuff. One by one, they take out Danny's personal belongings and start to take one for each one of them. This includes his ring and his video recorder as well. Mikey makes a tough call. He apologizes to Marcus and decides to climb on the top of the rock alone. The bad guys finally eliminate Danny, while Mikey establishes contact from the base. Soon enough, Mikey gets shot from behind and falls. The base gets the whereabouts of the guys, and starts to fly helicopters in their direction. This rescue is interrupted for a bit, while Marcus and Axe discuss the next course of events. An emotional Axe inquires from Marcus about Mikey and Danny. However, Marcus reveals that he doesn't know if both of them are alive or not. Finally, Axe states that if something happens to him, he should tell his wife that he loves him. Marcus assures that they both will get out of the place alive. Right after this, another heavy power hits the guys. This is when they decide to defend themselves better and fire back at the bad guys. The base gets its rescue helicopter in order and marches on to help the team. The bad guys keep on shooting at Axe and Marcus, but the two give them a tough fight. A ray of hope emerges as the backup helicopters make their way to the scene. As soon as the helicopters arrive, Axe and Marcus rejoice, as the backup will help them to attack the bad guys. The situation turns disappointing when one of the helicopters gets hit and the other has to defend itself. Marcus and Axe keep firing back at the bad guys. This time, Axe gets heavily injured and still uses his handgun to take down the bad guys. Soon enough, Axe gets killed by one of the bad guys, and it's only Marcus who remains out there. Marcus dodges a big gun missile and saves himself, but falls between rocks. The bad guys close in on his location but notice a helicopter above them. This throws them off, and they decide to quit the search for Marcus. As the night passes, Marcus survives. At first, he takes note of the injuries that have happened to him. He realizes that a bone is pointing out and resets it in the place by himself. Right after, Marcus finds a pond of water and deep dives into it. When he gets out, he realizes that a couple of people have surrounded him. This makes him fearful as he takes out his handgun and suggests that if they make a move, he will drop it. Marcus is assured by the person, Mohammed, that he is not with the bad guys. He is a local, belonging to the same place where the bad guys wreaked havoc. Soon after this, Mohammed takes him to his place, and Marcus meets with the rest of the locals. At first, Marcus draws a map indicating where the backup might be, and gives it to one of the guys. Mohammed is also protested by a local that he should not help Marcus, as it will lead to more trouble for them. One of the locals leaves for the location that Marcus pointed out. Meanwhile, the bad guys arrive back on the scene. They have ammunition with them, and look for houses to house for Marcus. Soon, they reach Mohammed's home and decide to look for Maruks there. At first, the local refuses and tries to communicate with the right-hand men of the bad guys, but the bad guy slaps him instead and looks for Marcus inside. As expected, they can find him inside and drag him outside. Marcus is taken out in the open and starts to shout at the bad guy. This time around, the bad guys plan on doing the same thing that they did at the start. The right-hand henchman raises his weapon to eliminate Marcus, but Mohammed saves him. The good local raises the weapon at the right-hand henchman instead and warns him to leave the guest alone. Soon enough, more locals join him in the process of saving Marcus. Eventually, the bad guys have to leave momentarily, as they are outnumbered. Marcus is taken inside the house once again and treated for injuries. Mohammed helps him to clean his wound and remove the ammunition. The next day, the bad guys arrive in greater numbers, with the only objective of eliminating Marcus and anyone who comes in between. Even though the locals are prepared, this time get overpowered by the bad guys. The right-hand henchman goes after Mohammed and his son. The two get into a fight together and give each other heavy blows. This time, the good local guy gets an advantage and eliminates the right-hand henchman. Back at the house, another bad guy arrives and starts to dominate Marcus. He is on the verge of torturing him, but Mohammed's son arrives and hands Marcus a knife. This is enough for Marcus to eliminate the bad guy. Back at the base, the team verifies Marcus's letter and gets to action straight away. They send their heavy helicopters and ground team to the location to take out the bad guys one by one. The scene shifts to the helicopters that are arriving from the base. Meanwhile, the entire village faces a heavy attack from the bad guys. The backup finally starts to eliminate the bad guys and then finishes them off. This is when the helicopter arrives in more numbers, along with additional backup. One of the locals leads them to Marcus's way and hands him over to them. While Marcus is leaving, he asks Mohammed to come with him. The good local decides to stay, and Marcus hugs his son. The team then takes off with Marcus, and the scene shifts back to the start. Marcus is being treated by the medics while he remembers everything about the events. He also expresses his heartfelt gratitude for his team, without whom he wouldn't have made it back. In the final few frames, we see Marcus's lifeline restored. The screen fades to black. The film ends here. I hope you liked this movie recap. Please comment on what you liked about this movie and what scene you liked, and don't forget to subscribe. See you in the next video.